Okay folks, here we go. Coil-Pot demonstration round 2. Got my equipment working a little bit better. Got a nice filter on my camera so you can actually see the glass a little bit in the flame instead of just being blinded by the light. And so here we go, I'm getting right into it folks, and basically a Coil-Pot, the sort of gist of it is, if you remember when you were a kid in pottery class and you would take that clay and sort of roll it out like a snake and then coil that clay snake up and make a bowl out of it, you know? So this is the same sort of general idea, obviously, except it's in glass. So what I'd like you to notice is, if you can take a look at my right hand, I'm twisting the colored rod counterclockwise, and in my left hand I'm twisting the clear glass blow tube clockwise. Now there's a specific reason for that, and let me give you a quick, see if I can insert right now. Oh, yep, here we go. So glass has a memory, so to speak, so it likes to maintain a certain shape when you blow and puff into it. And so when you're turning this rod into a bubble, those squiggly lines are representative of me twisting the glass whilst I'm coiling it onto the end of the blow tube. And you see these arrows here, those are the vertical memory from when I'm twisting in my right hand, and each sort of ring or coil that I'm getting will sort of represent the horizontal memories like you see there. So what I'm actually doing is I'm creating a strength and memory in the glass that will puff round. So I hope that sort of helps out visual demonstration here. And so they're back at the glass blowing. I have finished coiling the stick of color onto the end of the clear blow tube, and I'm gonna just sort of sink a little bit of heat into it and give it a little puff and sort of start rounding out the hollow form of the bubble. You'll notice I'll get down and give it a little puff while I'm rolling it in my L-marver. That's a really, really good technique. Adding air while rolling it in that L-marver will make a really nice cylindrical form. Some people, they like to use a blow hose, a rubber blow hose that connects to your end of the blow tube and to your mouth so you can puff air without having to bend all the way down on the side like that. Me personally, you can see even though I'm limping with a busted hip here, I'll still get down and puff air on the side rather than using the blow hose. For a lot of applications, a blow hose, to me, it's kind of like snowboarding with a backpack. It's just a little bit unnatural. So unless I absolutely need a blow hose, I'll usually do it this way. Okay, and here's another quick Coil-Pot. I'm going to do this one with a stick of North Star Yellow. This is the previous stick was purple lilac, I believe, and I'm going to show you at the end of this video what I'm using these two different coil-potted sections for. It's actually pretty neat, and I'll also sort of further explain on the importance of the memory and the necessity for roundness. So now I'm just getting prepped here to do another quick Coil-Pot. This is North Star Yellow, and I'm going to splice in a picture of one of the finished bubbles here, so you can sort of see the fuming lines in the North Star Yellow will show you sort of the coils and memory that I'm speaking of a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more clear. So I'm just prepping out a blow tube here, and handled up to like a little piece of 4mm to hold the stick of North Star Yellow. So again, here we go. We start spinning counterclockwise in my left hand and clockwise. Wait a minute, let me get that right. I'm spinning counterclockwise in my right hand with the stick of color, and spinning clockwise in my left hand with the clear blow tube. And that will give me the memory with the coils vertical and horizontal in the glass that I had showed you earlier. Sorry for the little mix-up, folks. It's just comes second nature to me after doing it for all these years, so explaining it gets a little bit tricky sometimes. A lot harder for me to explain it than it is to actually do it. But so you'll see the hand that I'm holding my clear blow tube in is staying in relatively the same position, which is directly below the main heat of my center fire. And then the color stick that I'm feeding onto that is getting really hot and soupy because that's going directly in the flame. And so I'm kind of, what I'm doing here is I'm feeding the stick onto the lip of the clear tubing and rolling the clear tubing so that it just sort of like feeds right on there. And it's kind of like my left hand is picking up the rod as it gets molten. So here's a little back and forth scrubbing, kind of a boomerang effect of feeding the color rod onto the lip of the hollow tubing, which is a good way of explaining it. All right, and here we go at the end, folks. I'm just gonna sink a little bit of heat base, pop a hole, and then I'm gonna add a section on there and show you exactly what I'm using this for. This is actually, it's pretty cool. This is how I start the bottom section of one of my new flower tubes in the new Heady production. I like to call it hubduction tube line that I'm releasing. Last year I released the rigs, and for 2020 new this year is a flower specific tube line. And in the bottom of that tube, there's a really cool wigwag reverse ball. And so when you fill the tube up with water, you can like sort of get a magnified effect of that wigwag reverse ball. And so around that wigwag in the bottom of the flower tube is a colored Coil-Pot section, which is what you see me making here. And if you guys obviously know anything about glass, you know flaring centrifugal force for cups, feet, and especially big feet on tubes or bongs, that when I put the foot in, or add the foot section to the main can on the tube, it's going to be super important to make sure that it stays round in the lathe. So what you're seeing here is prepping the Coil-Pot in order to make sure that I have nice round memory in the glass, so that when I add this reverse ball wigwag section, which will naturally want to football, sort of have a football shape, just because of the side-to-side wigwags with the terminations, this way the Coil-Pot will help ensure the roundness of the wigwag ball, and then that will also transfer into when I flare the foot on the bottom of the bong, making sure that that also stays round, because as many of you guys have probably noticed out there, when you have the sort of football or oval shape, that it can just be a big mess. So yeah, it's a pretty cool trick, and like I said, folks, glass blowing, roundness is one of the key words here. And you know, you'll see that there's a little bit of a warble in the bubble, but that's because I spun it all up by hand, and I'm gonna actually take that out. You see me, yeah, sticking the finger, haha, fuck you, Hubbard. It's because I'm actually really happy with how this is about to turn out. So the first the weld will get put together, and then what I'll do is I'll use that memory that's in that coil-potted section right there to sort of overcompensate and force that wigwag ball to go around inside the bottom of the tube. I'm just gonna sort of fast forward through the rest of this, because this is not a bong making video or a wigwag video. This is about coil potting and turning your solid rod into a nice round hollow bubble. You will see though how I overblow out the Coil-Pot section that forces the wigwag to go around, and then I'll compress it. This is right before I add the foot onto the bong, and it's a really cool trick. But at the end of the video here, I'm gonna go into a couple last things that are really important to this technique, and that's where they do not apply and what you do not want to do with coil potting and making hollow color tubing out of solid rod. And there's a few sort of instances where you don't want round memory, where you want just a vertical memory, a straight memory, where, so for example, in like straight tubing, like say you want to, like here in a hammer, you want this memory because if you have to stretch the tubing out, you want the memory of the glass just to go with the pull in such an instance. So you don't necessarily, if you coil pot, that could actually work against you when you wanted to pull a straight piece of tubing. So another instance is here is horn stock. You know, if you're gonna do spikes or horns or this type of decoration where you're sort of pulling points or spikes or attachments, etc. In this case, you would want to build your color tubing a different way using a stick stack method, which is a whole nother video in itself. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you'd like to become a patron of the arts, specifically my arts, please visit patreon.com/HubbardGlass. You can find me on Instagram @HubbardGlass and my website akameglass.com. And I look forward to making more videos. Thank you very much.